It's the end of an era for Onana. Meanwhile, the GOATs are still dominating the international scene, as is Memphis Depay, and the US men's national team have their own Agent 007. This is DMAC Daily. Don't smile because it's over, United fans. Cry because it happened. A goalkeeper who 2 years prior came in with a genuine reputation as one of the world's best. Now, that may sound crazy to hear in the big 2025, but Onana was previously viewed as the archetype sweeper keeper, one that would radiate confidence throughout this United backline and transform the club post-David De Gea. After all, this was a player who previously shone on the European stage with both Inter Milan and Ajax. Yet, unfortunately for Onana, his Red Devils tenure would be defined by high-profile errors in a team that was regressing at an alarming rate. Getting lobbed from halfway in pre-season foresighted the future chaos that would unfold, from the notorious away days in Munich to Istanbul, Lyon, Grimsby, and so many more. In fairness to the Cameroonian, he actually had a decent 6 to 12 month period throughout 2024, but the all too frequent howlers would shape his legacy in Manchester. Ultimately, this is a goalkeeper who has evident flaws to his game. For all his supposed technical prowess, it's the fundamentals, the lapses in concentration, the poor decision making that has resulted in United finally giving up on it. Lamin's signature on deadline day was the nail in the coffin, but truth be told, after that Carabao Cup disaster class, there was no going back. So a lone escape has now emerged via Trabzonspor. I gotta say, I'm surprised this man was shipped to Turkey before teammate Bayındır, but who knows, maybe this environment can be the one that turns his career around. However, I don't think there's any scenario whereby Onana comes back as a United player in the future. Who would have thought that the starting keepers in the 2023 Champions League final would be lining up in Turkey in 2025? Moving to international football, and the GOATs are back at it again. Last Friday, Messi bagged a brace in what could prove to be his final competitive appearance in Argentina. But in that same international window, CR7 also managed to get on the score sheet twice for his country, one of which was a legit banger. When Messi was interviewed, he was skeptical on his future at the international level, but let's be real here. Both of these freaks of nature will be featuring at the 2026 World Cup, because it's not like these two are completely past it. They may be on their last legs, but 38-year-old Messi is currently Argentina's and South America's top scorer in World Cup qualifying. Meanwhile, 40-year-old Ronaldo just won a Nations League as Portugal's top scorer, bagging in the semis v Germany and then in the final v Spain. So whether you're Team Messi or Team Ronaldo, you just gotta applaud the 2 decades of consistent greatness between the pair. And even though these two are cruising through the final chapters of their careers in MLS and the Saudi Pro League, whenever given the opportunity to represent their country, they still carry the flag. Messi is still the creative heartbeat of Argentina. Ronaldo remains Portugal's talisman. Speaking of talisman, and Memphis Depay just became the Netherlands' all-time leading goal scorer, overtaking Dutch legend Robin van Persie, having scored his 51st and then 52nd goal, which turned out to be the match winner against Lithuania. The former Manchester United, Lyon, and Barca forward now plies his trade at Corinthians in Brazil, but the 31-year-old still leads the line brilliantly for his country. This guy traumatized me personally in the World Cup back in 2014. Crazy how successful his Netherlands career has since been. 86 goal contributions in 104 caps. That's prolific. He's never been viewed as a truly elite player. However, his international legacy is no joke. Just look at the names he's ahead of for the Netherlands in the goals departments: Cruyff, Van Nistelrooy, Robben, Bergkamp, Kluivert, RVP. I'm not suggesting he's a more accomplished footballer than any of those legends, but fair play to the footballing rapping sensation that is Memphis Depay. Staying on the topic of European international football, and it was a big weekend of qualifiers. Fresh off of a humiliating defeat to Slovakia, Germany secured a vital victory over Northern Ireland. Wirtz came in clutch with a magical free kick, as sweet of a strike as you'll ever see. Meanwhile, Spain absolutely annihilated Turkey. Yamal and Gula had a cheeky little scrap early on, but the Spanish golden boy would come out on top with 2 assists to his name. However, he was outdone by the hat-trick hero Mikel Merino. 6 goals in 6 games for Spain in 2025. I don't care what anyone says, this man ain't no defensive midfielder. France opened their World Cup qualifying campaign with a dominant victory over Ukraine, but PSG are fuming. they're accusing France's medical staff of ignoring their recommendation to limit both Doué and Dembele's involvement due to injury risk. They didn't, and wouldn't you know it, both picked up injuries. Dembele is set to miss 6 weeks with a hamstring strain, whilst Doué will be out for a month with a calf problem. But neither of these blows were anywhere near as painful as having to watch England play over the weekend. Look, I'm not an outright hater of the international break, but I'd rather watch paint dry than these guys. A punishing watch. There were big results elsewhere in Europe. Lewandowski delivered for Poland as they defeated Finland. De Bruyne's Belgium hit Kazakhstan for 6, whilst Italy scored 5 of the best via Estonia. Moving continents, and last tournament's semi-finalist Morocco became the first African nation to punch their 2026 World Cup ticket. Nigeria kept their faint World Cup dreams alive with a 1-0 win over Rwanda, but in all 10 African World Cup qualifying groups, there is still so much to play for. And in CONCACAF, Jamaica opened their final round qualification with a dominant 4-0 win over Bermuda. I'd imagine all 3 CONCACAF qualifying groups are going to be really closely contested. Staying in CONCACAF, and what is going on with the US men's national team? A fresh humiliation, this time at the hands of Korea Republic. Mauricio Pochettino is legit Agent 007. 0 wins, 0 draws, 7 losses in their last 7 outings against top 30 opposition. And this guy reckons he can take the US to World Cup glory? Look, I'm all for ambition, but that seems completely out of the realms of possibility at this point. I understand that this wasn't a full-strength US squad. They were missing the likes of Cardoso, Turner, Tillman, Musa, Robinson, and McKennie. But no matter who's available, nothing seems to be working. Like, sure, these are ultimately meaningless friendlies, but there's no coherent identity or game plan being developed under Poch. As a Chelsea fan, I despised him for this very reason. There were no tactics on display with this man, just an overt dependency on Cole Palmer and vibes. He doesn't have that with the US, and the results/performances have been atrocious. I understand the issues of this national team go beyond coaching, but with so much at stake, can they really afford to keep entrusting in Pochettino? They got grouped at the Copa America and have only regressed further since. It's not looking good. Now for some quickfire transfer news, and PSG legend Presnel Kimpembe officially departs after 11 seasons to join Qatar SC. Meanwhile, in the Saudi Pro League, some big moves have taken place over the weekend. Wonder kid Roger Fernandez joined Al Ittihad for 32 million euros. French talent Valentin Atangana signs for Al Ahly for 25 mil. Uruguayan international Luciano Rodriguez will move to newly promoted Neom SC for over 20 mil. Championship Player of the Year Josh Brownhill signs with Al Shabab, where he's set to pocket over £100,000 a week, and Otavio is leaving CR7's Al Nassr for fellow Saudi club Al Qadsiya. Meanwhile, Willian is returning back to Brazil, signing with Grêmio, and Oriol Romeu has seen his contract terminated with Barcelona, the latest high-profile player to become a free agent. You now have the likes of Tomiyasu, Reguilon, Ziyech, Eriksson, Insigne, Karsdorp, Alcacer, Oxlade-Chamberlain, and Dele Alli without clubs in September. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching today's DMAC Daily. If you enjoy the content, feel free to like, subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you don't miss a single upload, and I'll see you tomorrow.